Okay, I am here with Jay Davis, and I'm Joe Patton, Senior Partner of Patton & Patton Personal Injury Lawyers. And hi, Jay, how are you?
I am doing great, Joe. Thanks for the invitation.
Let me introduce you a little bit. Jay is a friend of mine and a farmer's insurance agent, and you've been with Farmers Insurance, what, 17 years?
20 years. 20 years.
20 years, okay. So you're the expert in insurance that I want to be asking questions to, because my clients come up with some questions about insurance, and I've got a few ideas, but I thought, what we really need to do is get an expert, and that's you today on insurance. So I'm going to be drilling you with some questions here, and maybe we can produce something here that's productive and helpful to folks that, and everybody has questions about insurance because everybody has to have insurance, right? So, but before we get to that, I noticed on your website that you went to Oklahoma State University, have a degree in agricultural economics, but then it said you went with a master's at Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary. So were you going to become a pastor, or are you a pastor, or?
No, I do not preach that often because we want to grow the churches instead of run the people away. But I have served since 1979 as either a minister of music, youth, or education administration. Wow. So I'm one of those guys that has been behind the scenes, responsible for the Sunday school and the organization aspect of it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And also, while we were talking before we got started on the video here, you mentioned that you do, as a hobby, leather crafts. Pull out your wallet. I want them to see. I want them to see this wallet. This is incredible. Look at that. And you did all that design on the wallet, right?
Yes. It was originally just plain piece of leather.
And you mentioned that you got that. Your wife used to do that, or does it, or?
My wife used to do that,
yeah.
And when she was a youth, and then when I became part of her family 43 years ago, then I picked it up because I wanted a Western belt. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, 43 years. That's a good long time. Cindy and I just celebrated our 41st anniversary just a few weeks ago. So, okay, let's go to insurance. Big question. Everybody in Kansas is required to have what, $25,000 worth of insurance on their car?
Yes.
Okay, so how much is enough? I know that in liability insurance, you're protecting yourself in case you're at fault and someone files a lawsuit against you. Or if the other guy doesn't have any insurance, then you have an uninsured motorist provision in your policy. But how do you decide how much insurance to buy? So if someone's calling you up as an agent and they want some insurance from farmers and they're talking to you about, okay, how much should I get? What do you tell them?
Okay. I normally don't tell them what the state minimum is because the state minimum is inadequate. The state minimum is $25,000 per person per accident, and then property damage of $25,000. That's all you've got to have. But for just a few dollars more, you can be more adequately prepared than state minimum. You know as well as I that a normal day in a hospital, one day would be approximately $15,000 with no accidents.
Yeah.
That $25,000 per person can be depleted very quickly, as well as vehicles that are on the road today are worth more than $25,000.
Sure.
So state minimum says that that's all we're going to pay. is the state minimum up to whatever limit you have determined. And I am more comfortable with starting people at 100,000 per person, 300,000 per accident, and 100,000 property damage. But that also depends on your net worth. If
Sure.
you have more than that in your net worth, then man, let's increase those, and it's only going to cost you $20 more to maximize your liability limits.
So for the guy or the gal that where money is really no object and they have some assets in their estate, they really want to have liability insurance that's going to protect them if a lawsuit's filed against them. But also, if the other guy is at fault and he has inadequate insurance or no insurance, then you're really filing a claim against your own policy, and that's determined by the policy limit again. So you want to,
Exactly right.
and
Exactly
since you're really
right.
talking about pennies on the dollar, you probably want to make sure that what you really should be thinking about is you're protecting yourself and your family from some catastrophic loss.
There's three major parts that are required by the state of Kansas in insurance. The liability, which takes care of the other person, but then you've also got no insurance, underinsurance, and that's what takes you in the event they do not have enough insurance for your medical, and then PIP, personal injury protection.
So if the other driver has no insurance or doesn't have adequate insurance, you can file a claim against your own insurance company under the uninsured or underinsured motorist provision, and you're really protecting yourself at that point.
That is.
But again, if you only bought 25, then that's all you get.
That's all you're going to get.
But if you have 100, 200,000, and it's not unusual to have those medical. If you're in the hospital with rehab for a week or two, you're talking about some pretty hefty medical bills.
That is correct. That is correct.
So the main factor when you start talking about how much insurance to buy, then is you really want to know how much do I need, how much do I want to protect my own family from either a loss if someone sued me, or if they didn't have insurance to cover the damages that happened to me or my family.
Insurance is the first line to protect your net worth. So if that's the first line of defense, let's maximize it for a piece of protection.
Sure.
And that's what that does.
And you guys sell what they call umbrella insurance?
Yes.
And
yes.
And how does that factor in, and when would you buy something like that?
The umbrella insurance, we talked about just a few minutes ago about the insurance being your first line of defense. So let's maximize the first line of defense. The second line of defense is going to be an umbrella policy, and that starts at $1 million. That's what we protect you. That's not what it costs you to get. And then it goes into increments of $1 million. So 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. And that depends upon your net worth. Not everyone needs an umbrella policy. But if you have net worth that you need protecting, that is a great way to protect your assets, your net worth. But if you don't, then let's just take care of the first defense.
Sure. And so when someone comes in and they talk to you, then you walk them through those kinds of factors. And
yes, sir.
Okay. Now here's the key question. I always have to go on vacation. I'm going to ask you this question because I can never remember the answer. I mean, I go on vacation, I show up at the airport, I rent a car, and the guy's always asking me, do I want to buy some insurance right there? And I own a car at home. I've got insurance on the car at home. Do I need to buy the insurance this rental guy is trying to sell me, or is that just a scam? What is it?
Okay. Your personal insurance policy that you have is going to cover the rental vehicle but there are some restrictions, and those restrictions are very key in knowing how you best handle it. Your personal policy is not going to take care of vehicles in some countries outside of the United States. So if you're driving outside of the United States, then you may want to consider getting insurance through Enterprise or what other rental company for the what if. The other restriction that most insurance companies do not provide when you rent a vehicle is use.
You cut out. Say that again. You cut out there.
Loss of use.
Loss of use. Okay. Sure.
Loss of use. So let's say that you were driving to Wisconsin, you have an accident, you turn in a claim just like it was your vehicle, you will pay the deductible, and your company is going to take care of rental vehicle.
Right.
But now that rental vehicle is going to be in the shop 3 or 4 days, additional days, to get it repaired so that they can put it back in service. Those 3 or 4 days, they can charge you as far as rental pay. There's a couple of ways around that. One, many credit card companies that you use to purchase that rental will cover loss of use. And what I do is I utilize a lower deductible. I know that I'm going to go on a trip, so I will lower the deductible as low as I can in the event of that accident and make sure that I have rental reimbursement. And because the rental company will take that rental reimbursement, which is $25 or $50 a day, and apply that to loss. So therefore, I am not out anything. Then after I get back home, had no accident, I turn the vehicle back in, then I contact my agent, which happens to be me, and increase the deductible back up to the normal limits that I am comfortable with.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Well, that's what I'm going to do next time. So if folks have some additional questions about insurance, what's your office phone number? Who would they call?
I can be reached here in Topeka, 785-267-5300. My normal office hours from 8:30 to 5:30. But if I am not in, my phone is forwarded to my cell phone, so I can be reached.
Great. Also, I found your webpage by just Googling J. Davis Farmers Insurance. It popped right up there. So
that'll work.
Hey, Jay, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and let's talk some more about getting me one of those wallets. That looks great.
I can do that.
All right. Thanks, man.